Hi there, I'm Eitan, and welcome back to the Wix Wiz. Today we are going to be continuing with product page plugins. If you saw the first part of this series, then you know how to create a basic Hello World plugin, and if you haven't seen it yet, I would recommend checking it out before hopping into this one. And today what we're going to be doing is learning how to create an Amazon-like on-page coupon for a product. So it's going to be something like this. This is the plugin right over here. And when you click to apply the coupon, it will apply that coupon that's pertaining to this product directly into the cart. And it's something psychological that encourages people to actually take the next step and add it to their cart, according to Amazon, apparently. So if you want to learn how to do all that and more, let's get started. Okay, so today we are going to pick up where we left off with our plugin tutorial. So if you don't know anything about Wix plugins for product pages or blocks or anything like that, and that's all sounds like Chinese or Greek or some language that you don't know, then I would recommend checking out the precursor to this video where I explain the very basics of how to build a plugin for your product page. And essentially what we got to at the end of that tutorial is that we have a very basic plugin like the one that you can see over here. All it is a design, but we're able to place it anywhere we want inside of the product page app. So that's the point that we're going to be starting from. This is what the plugin looks like within the blocks editor. And we're really going to be picking up from here. I'm going to be using the same block that we built before, so I won't be talking about the whole setup of the block and choosing the slots and stuff like that, but just how to build custom functionality within a block and utilize Wix code and Velo in order to add some cool functionality to your product page. So what I'm going to be trying to replicate is essentially this functionality over here that you may have seen on Amazon if you use Amazon. And essentially what it does is it presents a certain option to apply a coupon on a product page. And if you click this checkbox right over here, then what it will do is apply a coupon to your product. And this article that this happens to be in actually explains a little bit about the consumer psychology behind it and why Amazon does it. I'm just going to assume that if Amazon does it, then it might be something that you want to add to your e-commerce store as well. And essentially what it's going to do is it's going to utilize the Wix coupon system and present a coupon on the product page via the plugin if a coupon exists in your marketing settings for that specific product. Then when the user clicks the checkbox, it will apply that coupon to the product and they'll see it when they go ahead and check out in the cart. So that's what we want to do. It's not too complex. I think it's actually really cool. And in order to do that, we're going to be using a few of the Velo APIs. So we have, first of all, the APIs that allow us to query the coupons and find coupons that match a specific entity. So if you've set coupons with code before, then you kind of know that you have the ability to set a scope and a group and entity, and it's all outlined here in the documentation. I won't delve into it too deeply, but essentially it outlines what that coupon could be applied to. And since we're dealing specifically with coupons that are applied to a specific product or can be applied to a specific product, so we're going to specifically be looking for an example like this, where we're looking for the scope group entity to be essentially the product ID. Okay, that's what we're trying to go for here. If you need something slightly different, you might need to read some documentation. So the first thing that we're going to do is essentially we are going to build a query that will check to see if there is a coupon for the whatever product we are building the plugin for, and if there is, we will display information about that coupon inside of our plugin. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch out this text which we had for our initial demonstration, and I'm actually going to add a checkbox there instead, so that we can really get that checkbox functionality. So let me go ahead and look for inputs, and I'm going to see if I can find some kind of checkbox here. see signature input. Maybe it's inside of selections. Yeah. Okay. It's a little different than the Wix editor. So typically that would be an input. Here they split it up into inputs and selections. And I'm just going to add this single checkbox over here. I'm going to set in terms of my sizing. I'm going to do advanced sizing, and I'm just going to set this, let's say, to be 100%. So this will, let's do, you know what? I'll do 90%, just so it doesn't get all the way to the edges. And just center it kind of in the middle and the top. And I will also make this really docked to the top with a margin of 0. Change of plans, margin of 10. And that will mean that whenever we put this plugin, essentially it should be, let's see if I can get this to be a bit smaller. This container, I'll change the height here to, let's say, 100. Yeah, there it is. This, I was looking for this bar right over here. Awesome. So this essentially should be our plugin now. And this should snap here just to be essentially based on the height of this with the margins that we set, if I'm not mistaken. But we can always touch up the design a little later on if we see it's not really working inside of the slot. So essentially we have a checkbox over here, and I'm just going to change the checkbox text to say coupon info, let's say. Okay, and I like to use these curly brackets just to indicate to myself that this is something that I'm going to be populating with code later on, and it's not the actual text that we'll be displaying there. Last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and give this a unique ID. So instead of having it be called checkbox 1, I'll call this, let's say, coupon checkbox. Okay, and now I'm ready to hop in and start writing some Velo code for this plugin. So let's first start off by doing a little bit of cleanup and explanation here. Again, this is all code that we wrote when we were building our first plugin in the original plugin tutorial, which if you haven't seen, I do encourage you to see it. But if you insist on staying here without seeing it, then I'll try and explain a bit about what's going on here. So essentially what we're doing here is inside of the onProps changed, we are accessing the product ID via a property that we set over here inside of the widget API. So whenever we're using a plugin, depending on which app it's being implemented with, so here specifically with the product page, what the product page does is it passes us the product ID. Only the product ID. This is a one-directional conversation. We can't pass any information back from the plugin into the product page, but we do get the product ID, and that's essentially all we're going to need in order to find the coupon information. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get rid of this function because we're not really going to need it anymore. We're also not going to need this getProduct function, but I am going to leave what we have over here, which is essentially just us getting the product ID when it is passed from the product page via the slot. And you'll notice that this here is something that's done in the onProps changed and not in the onReady function. Okay, so that's an important thing to know. We discussed this again in the previous tutorial. So now that we have the product ID, essentially what we're going to want to do is build a backend function which will get a coupon that's related to this product if one exists. So let's go ahead and head over here to our code panel. And I'm going to add in a new web module, and I'll call this coupons. And I accidentally created here a JSW one, and I see that that is what we have here. So inside of blocks, I'm pretty sure that I did see that there were .web.js at some point in the blocks. Maybe they took it away for now because something wasn't working. I don't know. But anyways, JSW should be familiar with. That's our legacy backend module. So we're all good. And what I'll do here is I'll just get rid of all this kind of boilerplate code over here. And essentially what I'll be doing is I'll create a new function. So let's say export async function, and we'll say get product coupon, and I'll pass in product ID. And now we are ready to run a query to try and find our coupon. So again, we're going to be using this right over here. So it's essentially Wix data. I'm going to copy this because they wrote it out so nicely here. And lower chances that I'll make a mistake if I just copy it. So I'm going to paste that right over here. Obviously, we're going to need to import Wix data over here in order to use it. And here we're going to want to store the value of whatever comes back here inside of a variable. So let's call this coupons query result. And we're going to use the await keyword because this is going to be a promise. Over here, instead of having this hard-coded ID that we have, we're going to want to pass in the product ID that we're getting from the plugin. And last but not least, we're obviously going to want to run find here. And why is that not working? Dot equals dot find, because this is over here and it should not be. Okay, and I'm just going to pass in suppress auth here just in case. Just in case there are some kind of special permissions on accessing the coupon data. And after we get back this coupon query result, I'm going to assume that there's only one coupon for each product. If that's not the case, then you might need to build something different. But here my assumption is going to be that there'll be max one coupon per product. So I'm going to say here, return coupon query result dot items 0. Okay, so this should be either undefined if there's no coupon that comes back, or it should be the item of the coupon that we get. Okay, so that's what we should have over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to import this inside of my block code or plugin code. So import that function from backend / coupons. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say const coupon equals to await get product coupon, and I'm going to pass in the product ID. And in order for this to work, we're going to need to make onProps changed asynchronous, the callback function inside. And I'm going to add a log console.log coupon. Okay, so I think we are ready to finally test this. And what I'll do is I'm going to build my plugin. And now, because we've added in some backend code, we need to create our namespace. Okay, and this is something that you only need to do if you're adding backend code to your block. If you have an only front-end block, you won't need to do this, and that's why we're only seeing this prompt here for the first time. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next, and I'm going to choose to use the company name, and I think since I am not in my main account here, so it's not showing my Wix Wiz company name, but just my personal name here. And I'm not going to set this up in the Dev Center now, so I'm just going to use my name over here, and I'm going to call this my first plugin. That's totally fine. This is just a demo, so names aren't too important. And I'm going to go ahead and click Build. Okay, so now it is building the test plugin, and what I'm going to be doing now is heading back to the editor. If you're building a test version, it should usually automatically update in the editor, even if you have the plugin installed already. But sometimes if you see something was not kind of working, then you might want to refresh the editor. And then I'm going to publish the site with this update to our plugin. And let's see if we see the information about the coupon inside of our logs. Before we do that, obviously, I'm going to need to set up a coupon for the product that we're viewing. Okay, so here I am in the site dashboard of the site that I have the plugin already installed on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Marketing, and I'm going to look here for coupons. I see discounts, and inside of discounts, coupons. It's never the same thing twice in the Wix dashboard. I think every day I see something that kind of moves around a little bit, but if you're familiar, you can usually find stuff. Worst case scenario, you can use the search bar, and that usually is pretty reliable. I'm going to go ahead and add in a new coupon, and let's say I'm going to add a discount of, let's say, 20%. Sorry, coupon code, let's call this 20 off. And it's going to be a 20% discount. And here, this is where it gets important because we're going to choose what it applies to. So I'm going to choose a specific product, and I'm going to search products by name. So let's apply it to this tote bag over here. Okay, unfortunately, all the products are called I'm a product, so that makes it a little hard, but I'm assuming that your products are all a little different. And apply once per order. Let's apply to each eligible item in order. And I'm going to ignore this for now, ignore all this other stuff for now. So just a really basic coupon, 20% discount on a specific product. So I'm going to go ahead and create that coupon. And now I'm going to head over to our live site. And I'm going to head to category page, and I'm going to look for that tote bag. And I'm just going to refresh the page. And you could already see here that our plugin has changed to the new UI that we set up. So this is kind of what it's going to look like. Obviously, we didn't yet tell it anything to display here in the UI yet, but you can see that it already updated. And if I go here into the console, what I'm hoping is that we're going to see our coupon being logged. Let's see if we can find that. Okay, so I see here that I'm getting a backend error. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go here into DevTools. And once we head into DevTools, I'm going to open up what was used to be called event logs, and now I think is called logging tools. Okay, right over here, logging tools. And I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to refresh the page, and then we should see the log over here. So let me go ahead and do that. Just going to go ahead and refresh. Awesome, and let's see what we have here. Okay, error loading web module. Cannot find module, my first plugin backend. Okay, so it actually seems like it's some kind of error with the installation of the plugin. I don't think this is something that's my fault. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to try refreshing a bit, publishing a bit, and come back once I get this working. Okay, so I am back after an arduous debugging journey. Let me share a little bit about what I did here and what I think ended up solving it. So I tried to, refresh my editor and republish, and that wasn't working. I tried to uninstall the plugin and reinstall it. That wasn't working so well either. What I did do that I think worked is that I also uninstalled the app through the App Center. So if you go here to Custom Apps, you can see here that the Blocks apps are always installed here as well, and that's true for the plugins. So what I did is I deleted it through here as well. And I also, when I reinstalled it, instead of reinstalling it by just installing the plugin, I also installed the app through here. So through App Center and Custom Apps. And you should just see all the custom apps that you've built over here, and then you can select it and install it. And only after doing that did I add the plugin here to the product page, and then it started working. Okay, so that dealt with error number 1. This probably happened because I had installed the plugin at one point without creating the namespace, and then it just took a while to flush the cache or whatever in terms of the namespace. But it's still kind of a bug. So this is something that I hope would be resolved in the future. And especially if you're publishing this on the app market, I imagine this would not be an issue. But just if you encounter the same thing, then try what I just described, and that should deal with your issue. So that dealt with the issue number 1 that we were having, which was this error loading web module, etc. But then I started getting a different error over here. Okay, validation failed. And here I already had an intuition about what that was. So the validation failed error means that there's something wrong with my query, essentially for the coupon. So what I did here is inside of the block, I changed this from entity to entity ID. And if we take a look at the documentation, then you can see here that when they're showing what the structure of the data is actually inside of the coupons collection. So they do specify here, for example, group entity ID as opposed to entity, but in their example of the query, they accidentally write here entity instead of entity ID. Very frustrating, I know. This could have easily taken me hours, not hours, I don't know, a very long time to solve, maybe a while back. Luckily, I'm a little more familiar now with with Wix and what they do right and what they do wrong, so it was kind of easy for me to spot this little issue. Um, but yeah, so because essentially what this is doing is it's using dot notation to kind of drill down into this object. So assuming that this is the correct structure of the object, in terms of the dot notation, it would make sense for it to be entity ID as opposed to entity. And after resolving those two things, luckily I am able to get the data from the coupon here inside of the console. So here you can see all of the data regarding the coupon. And we can see a few interesting things here. So we can see the code. We can see that it's type of percent off. We can see the percent off rate. And we can also, let's see if we have like an ID here as well, which will be helpful. So essentially what I want to do now is do two things. I want to construct a message that will display here that will say, let's say, apply coupon code 20 off for 20% off your next purchase. And here it's important to make a note because since there are so many different coupon types in Wix, you'd have to have a very dynamic algorithm for constructing those messages. Because basically what I have to do now is understand that this is a percent off coupon by the type. And then I have to find the percent off rate and then write 20% off. But if this was a discount of, a certain amount, like $10 off, then I would have to format the message a little differently. So currently I'm going to build only for this type of coupon just to save time and get to the important stuff in the tutorial. But just note that if you were building this out to be a full-fledged application, you would have to deal with all those different edge cases. Okay, so let's start off by constructing that message that will be written in the checkbox. And I'll do that in a new function right over here. So I'll just say function, and let's call this display coupon message. And what we'll do here is we'll pass in the product ID. And then what I'll do over here is I'll actually get the coupon inside of this function. So I'll grab that and put that over here. And I'll make this asynchronous. And then here, instead of actually getting the coupon inside of the onProps changed, I'll actually just say await display coupon message, and I'll pass in the product ID. And here, so essentially what we do is we get the coupon, we log the coupon, and now let's set up the message. So let's say const message equals to, and here we're going to say apply coupon code, and here we're going to want the code of the coupon. So I'll say here coupon dot code for, and again, here I'm assuming that it's percentage off. So I'm going to say here for a certain amount. So that's, if we go over here, I copied the object of the coupon over here just so I don't forget, and it's this over here. So percent off rate. Okay, so that's what we want over here. So coupon dot percent off rate, and then I can have a percentage sign, and I'll just write off. Okay, so remember, I'm kind of hard coding here. I'm kind of making an assumption that we're going to be dealing with a percent off coupon. And this message would need to be a little more dynamic to account for other situations as well. But for now, this will suffice because we're only accounting for percentage-based coupons. And now that we have that message, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that message to be, so let's do coupon checkbox dot, I think it should be label equals to message. Okay, and that should display that message for us over there. So the next thing we need to deal with is deal with the functionality of applying the coupon once the checkbox is clicked. For handling our coupon code application, there are essentially two ways that we can do it. One is we can use the Wix Ecom backend and use update current cart to pass in a coupon code. Okay, so that's one option. The other option would be instead to use Wix stores. So here we have, let me just find it, Wix stores frontend, and we have this function apply coupon. Okay, and this is a little more forward. This is an API, straightforward, sorry. This is an API that's specifically for the application of coupons. I'm not sure 100% what the differences between the two APIs might be in terms of side effects. Generally, the Ecom APIs are more versatile and can be used in different situations, also not specifically for Wix stores. Here, in terms of Wix stores, we would want to use apply coupon. So for example, let's say if this coupon was for bookings, let's say, then this API might not work. But since we are currently developing a plugin for the product page of Wix stores, then I don't see any problem going with this API. And it's just a little more simple to implement because it's front end and specifically for applying coupons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to copy this boilerplate code over here and head back into our block. And I'll just paste it here on the bottom for now so we can get everything organized. So first thing, I'll move this import up to the top level over here, and I'll put it above my internal import, just right over there. Okay, so we have our import, and the next thing we're going to want to do is to build a function which will essentially apply this coupon. So let me go ahead and create that function over here. So it'll be asynchronous function, and we'll just call this apply coupon to product, and I'm just naming it something. Ideally, I would have named it apply coupon, but I don't want to get us confused with this method over here on the bottom for the cart. So I'm just adding a little embellishment to the name of the function. And what we'll do is we'll pass in the coupon code over here. And then what I'll do is just copy this essentially into my function, and I'm going to turn it into async await. So I'm just going to go ahead and say const updated cart. Let me just zoom in there so you can see. Equals to await cart.apply coupon, and I don't need this .then.catch. I haven't been doing any error handling in this entire demonstration, so that's something that we would need to do as a next step. But for now, this serves our purpose. And what I'll do here is I'll just log the updated cart. So console.log updated cart. And I'll add a message here, updated cart. Okay, awesome. So that's looking good. And essentially, we're going to want to apply this coupon when the checkbox is selected. Okay, that's what we're going to want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another overall function, async function, and I'm going to call it setup coupon checkbox. Okay, and this is going to handle all the things that we're doing related to our coupon checkbox, and it's going to take the product ID. What it will do is it will get the coupon over here. And then it'll do two things. So the first thing it will do is it will display the coupon message. So let's do await display coupon message. And here I'll do a little refactoring. So instead of passing in the product ID, what I'll do is I'll pass in the entire coupon. And I'll make that change over here as well. So this will be the entire coupon. Awesome. So that we dealt with. And the next thing we're going to do is set up an event listener for our coupon checkbox that dot on change. If we'll say if event dot target dot checked. Okay, because a checkbox can be either checked or not checked. It's a Boolean. Then what we'll do is we will await apply coupon to product, and we'll pass in the coupon dot code. And here we'll just need to make this asynchronous. And looking good. Okay, so all I need to remember to do now is to call this setup coupon checkbox function, a bit of a mouthful, down here instead of the display coupon message function. This is just a stray piece of code that's lying around there that we don't need. Awesome, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this plugin as a test version again, refresh my editor and publish and everything, and meet you back on the site to do some testing. Okay, so here we are back on the product page, and as you can see here, so the message is displaying nicely, or at least as I intended. And one thing I wanted to point out here that I forgot to explain in the design part is that, as you can see here now, the checkbox is not checked by default, as it was before. So that's just a small change that I made here in the block. So if you go into the settings and then checked by default inside of the checkbox, then you can change if it will be checked or not by default. So I turned that off and I rebuilt a test version kind of in between these two clips. And yeah, so now we can see here on the live site, it's looking good. Let's test it out and see if it works. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click the checkbox. And I can see over here that we get back the updated cart. And I don't see any line items. Okay, there are no line items in the cart, which makes sense because I haven't added anything to cart yet, but it does theoretically mean that we applied this coupon. So let me go ahead now and actually add an item to cart. I have to select a color first, so I'll do that. And I'll add to cart. Okay, and now I have one item in my cart. And I'm going to go ahead and view cart. And we can see that I don't see that the coupon is applied. Okay, so it doesn't seem like the coupon is applied, which is unfortunate because it means that it's possible that we have to have a product in the cart in order to apply the coupon, which would make it, oh, and I do see here it says now applied coupon null. Yeah, so that kind of complicates things a little bit because essentially what that means is that we would, like, let me go back to the product page now. And let me try clicking this one more time. Yeah, so now we have an applied coupon here. Okay, so it seems like we can only apply the coupon once we already have the product that it's pertaining to in the cart, or at least some items in the cart. I would need to do more experimentation to see which one it is. But that definitely changes the outlook of this plugin that we're trying to develop. Okay, so cut forward quite a few weeks. I think it's been maybe 3 weeks or about a month since I filled the initial tutorial. And in the original version, I just kind of paused at that point and said that it's something that we need to work out. But since I have been developing this on the side because I'm hoping that this, by the time you're seeing this, this will be available in the app market. I did need to find a solution, and I consulted and brainstormed also with the Wix team, which was very helpful. And this is the approach that I ended up taking. So I just wanted to share it with you so that you can be aware of this potential solution to the issue we were having. And essentially, the way that it works is that instead of attempting to apply the coupon when the checkbox is changed, so right over here, and I know the code might look a little different because I've made some adjustments, but instead of applying the coupon directly on change, essentially what I do is I store the coupon code as a global variable right up here. And then we also tap into the Wix Ecom frontend on cart change event. And this is interesting because it's a pretty new API. To be honest, I'm not even sure if it existed when I filmed the first part or like the initial part of this tutorial. But you can find it over here. So here we have the Wix Ecom frontend API. And essentially this allows us to listen to and interact with the cart in ways that we couldn't do before with the Ecom APIs. Uh, Interesting ones are refresh cart, which can be very helpful with the different service plugins slash SPIs. And in our case, it's this on cart change event. So essentially, I can always just listen to hear, okay, when is a change being made to the cart? And then, only then, do I check to make sure that that product that the coupon applies to is actually inside of the cart, and then we run the apply coupon to product. And since the cart has changed, I know for sure that there's definitely some kind of item, and specifically this product inside the cart, so I could just easily apply the coupon. So that's how I approach solving this, because I couldn't really find a way to create a current cart without adding some products into it. And I didn't want to just like add a product and remove it or something along those lines because, it's a bit hacky. So that's how I approach this. Just one more thing that I can share here is first of all, I implemented the different kind of coupon types. So this is something that I mentioned as well, that basically, we did it for percent off, but essentially, if it's a money off coupon, then we'd have to handle it slightly differently and display a slightly different message. So I handled those different scenarios over here. And I've also kind of just double checked different parts of the coupon, like is this an active coupon? Is the coupon expired or not, etc. It's not 100% done yet, but I'm very close to releasing it at this point. So I just wanted to share that progress just to give you some inspiration if you are proceeding with this and you're stuck at the same point that I am. And with that, I'm actually just going to wrap up. So I appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to give this a thumbs up. And if you want to see more things like this about Wix, Velo, and developing on Wix, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time.